Hey, it's Tom here. Yes, this video is going to be a quick introduction to the image distortion calibration toolbox. And so what this does is it's just a front end to the openCV distortion calibration libraries, which are popular libraries for calibrating distortion in images. And so there's several steps to distortion calibration. The first thing you need to do, you're just going to look in this test images, is you need to take a bunch of photos of the checkerboard. And in the test images folder, there's just like 5 or 6 or something, but you need to take like 50 and from all different angles. And so the idea here is the checkerboard is a regular pattern, and the computer can figure out where the intersections and the edges of the checkerboard are, and where they're supposed to be in real life, and compare that to what the camera saw in its actual position in terms of pixels on the image, and from that calculate an estimate of the internal distortion of the lens. And all cameras, except for very expensive ones these days, most cameras are quite distorted. Phone cameras are very distorted. They're kind of like a pinhole or like a fisheye lens, but just enough that you don't notice and worry about it too much. So there's some image processing algorithms that work a lot better if you distortion calibrate your images before doing the analysis. So you take a bunch of photos of the checkerboards, and then you use a computer to create this calibration file, which is calibration.txt. I'll show you how to do that in a sec. Then what you do is you use that calibration file to unwarp a bunch of existing images. And so you have a few hundred images that you took with that camera. You use that calibration to create unwarped versions of those images. And you only need to do the checkerboards thing, the calibration thing, once, but for every image that you want to use an uncalibrated version of it, you need to unwarp it. So the calibration process occurs once, but the unwarping thing occurs for every image that you want to use. Okay, so there's when you get the zip file, you unzip it. There's 3 exe files. You click on the double click on calibrate GUI.exe. Okay, and so there's 2 windows that pop up. This is the console window, and that just prints messages, and this can take a while. So it's console window gives you some sense of how far along it is, and it may show some error messages. And if it crashes and there's an error message that pops up in the console, if you could take a screenshot, send it to me, I'll try to fix it. I expect some errors, just because this thing I've made is just super new, so I expect errors. But we'll work it out and we'll get it working. Okay, so there's several buttons here. The first one is you choose your checkerboard directory. So that's your directory full of checkerboard images. And then you can choose a directory containing raw images that you want to unwarp, you want to calibrate. So, and then the 2 actions that you can do. First, you can create the calibration. You only need to do that once. And then 2, you can calibrate the raw images in your raw image directory. So just a quick demo here with the demo files. I'm going to choose a checkerboard directory. Okay, so this is this test images checkerboards. This is a file here. Checkerboards. Okay. I'm going to choose a raw directory of files to unwarp. That's this. In the test images, this 2 unwarp, and it's just 1 image there. Okay. I've already created the calibration. It takes about 5 minutes or so. So I'm not going to run that just like as cooking shows, I've already pre-cooked your calibration, so we don't need to wait for that. And so that's this file right here. But when you are unwarping your images, you need to still select your checkerboard directory, because it needs, what the computer does in this version is it looks in your checkerboard directory for a calibration, and so this calibration is going to be unique for this camera. So every time I want to calibrate a folder full of raw images, I still need to select this checkerboard directory, because it contains that calibration that's unique to that camera. So, but I am going to unwarp this image in here, this one here, create raw, calibrate raw images, and yeah, this doesn't take too long. There we go. And so it creates a copy of the image that's calibrated with that distortion calibration, and you can swap between them. See the calibrated version. You can see how the checkerboard becomes less sort of distorted and bulbous into more of a what we expect a checkerboard should look like if the camera were not distorted. And yeah, so that's a quick overview of the toolbox. And let me know crashes, bugs, reports, things that work, things that don't, and I'll try to fix them. Thanks.